Fun is at the center of every single Jacquemus campaign, and that is what makes them so uniquely attractive. This is actually something that's always caught my eye about him. It genuinely seems like he's just having so much fun. Every show, every campaign, I can almost see him chuckling to himself in the background. And I mean, let's be so real right now, there is also a lot of strategy, and you don't just become Jacquemus by running around aimlessly. But ultimately, the work is rooted in fun. So today I want to talk about the designer who made minimalism massive and who so warmly welcomed us into his world of luxury, one viral campaign at a time. But before we dive in, I'm Isabel. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because if you're into fashion and internet culture, this channel might be just for you. So let's get into it. Okay, now let's take it back to 2011 when instead of showing his collection on a catwalk, like quite literally everyone else, Simon Port decided to simulate a strike in front of the Dior store on Vogue's fashion night out in Paris. Genius. So this is called guerrilla marketing, and it's basically a high impact campaign at the lowest cost possible. Think lots of shock value in very creative ways. And so one day he dressed up some of his friends in his collection and went out on the street handing out flyers with a sign that said Jacquemus en grève. Pedestrians were confused, the fashion press couldn't ignore it if they tried, and so Jacquemus's first viral campaign came in before the word viral was even used in this context. And even though, yes, the campaigns were fun, they also commanded attention. This was in the very beginning when he had no budget and he was struggling to keep his new brand afloat while being able to afford to live.
I start with 1,500 euro. I went to a sewing machine ladies and I asked her to make a skirt for 100 euro, and she said yes, and I start the collection the next day.
I feel like there's something that gets activated when you're in survival mode. There's that point where you have nothing to lose and you just bet it all on that one thing that might be the next best thing. It's like this sink or swim moment, and some people are just able to build an entire boat while simultaneously learning how to swim. Jacquemus had no big corporate investors, and we can totally see this in his marketing strategies. I believe now L'Oreal owns a minority stake, about 10%, which is still small and a relatively new partnership. So when most luxury companies stick to safe campaigns, he is able to do what he feels is right for his brand. And so far, he's been right. He says that every detail is decided by him, and it shows. You can feel the personal approach, and it has built a brand that people actually trust. Jacquemus had campaigns that included a supersized CGI Bambino bag just strolling down the street of Paris, casually becoming a viral sensation on social media. The funniest part about this is that when he suggested it to his team, they weren't very enthusiastic about it, and someone even said that it would make the brand look cheap. And he just went on and did it anyway. And listen, feedback is important, but sometimes you just have to trust yourself. Because this became one of the most talked about viral moments in fashion of the year. And now here I am talking about it 2 years later. Yes, it's been 2 years. Mind you, we cannot forget about all the food marketing that's been going on this past couple of years. And I do realize that this has been happening across the board and not just fashion, definitely not just Jacquemus, but Jacquemus is one of my favorite examples. And of course, none of this is random, there's psychology behind it. Marketing that includes food makes you use all your senses. If butter is used for promotion, you would subconsciously associate the softness of butter with the product and assume that it's soft. This is genius because during a time where so much marketing is done online and the consumer can't feel the products, creating associations with food forces you to use all of your senses and somehow link the food with the product. Something else that I really like about him is how he wanted to make luxury approachable. He wants everyone to understand what he's doing. I saw this interview where he talks about watching this luxury commercial with his grandma, and it was so conceptual that she couldn't understand what was going on.
I was feeling that there is so much boundaries between creative and the audience. It was too far. It was always so dark, so full of concept, and my grandmother couldn't get them. So I was like, let's do something that everyone can understand.
Lastly, and probably one of my favorite shows of independence, the official Jacquemus account, also kind of dubbed as his personal account. Now he's created a second Instagram, but the official Jacquemus account still feels very personal. In the midst of all the CGI bags and the grand displays of creativity, we see the everyday. We see babies being born, we see the different stages of his life, and this makes the brand more approachable because in a way we get introduced to these very intimate moments of the creator's life. And with the announcement of his grandma as Jacquemus's first ambassador, he's definitely taking the time to welcome the world to his family. So we see Jacquemus's personal world, and something that makes him so interesting is how he also shows us he has created a world for the brand itself that extends past social media and then into immersive experiences like the stores or the restaurants. The shows are grand and extravagant. Instead of going for the usual Fashion Week locations, the locations for the Jacquemus shows are deeply meaningful to Simon Porte himself. A lavender field that brought him back to his native province, wheat fields and salt marshes in the south of France, all the way to fulfilling his childhood dream at the Palace of Versailles. And then we have pop-ups and stores that continue the story that is being told through the runway and on socials. And finally, we have the restaurants. You have this whole world that goes from social media appealing to millions of people and now being able to experience it one-on-one at a restaurant.
I think it's going to be one of the answers of today from my side. It's having fun. I think having fun is it's being creative, is going one step aside, and it's playing with the system. Because I want everyone to be 360 inside the Jacquemus world.
And this is the recipe for the virality of fun that is so deeply personal to Simon Porte Jacquemus. So which was your favorite viral moment? Was it the CGI bags, the giant hats, the homey stores? Let me know in the comments. And if you're into fashion, brand deep dives, or just random commentary, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. See you later. Bye.